Developing tonight, Bryan Kohberger now faces life in prison after pleading guilty this morning to the murders of 4 University of Idaho students in 2022.
The surprise plea deal means Kohberger avoids the death penalty, which doesn't sit well with some of the victims' families. KOMO's Michelle Esteban joins us live in the studio now with what else happened during today's plea hearing and what comes next.
Well, as you guys can imagine, all these families are still processing this. It has been a whirlwind. The surprise plea announcement on Monday. And here we are today. Kohberger pleads guilty to all 4 murders just weeks away and before that trial was expected to start.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder?
Yes.
Showing little emotion during the proceeding, Bryan Kohberger said he killed all 4 University of Idaho students. The brutal stabbings captured the country in November of 2022. And days after learning of a recent plea deal, this. One by one, Kohberger, a former WSU criminal justice grad student, admitted to the murders of Kaylee Gonsalves, Maddie Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Skagit County's Ethan Chapin, stabbed inside this off-campus house in Moscow.
As to count 5, the first-degree murder of Ethan Chapin, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
The plea was given freely, voluntarily, and was intelligently made. I accept the plea. I direct that it be entered.
The plea deal takes the death penalty off the table in exchange for life in prison. The judge repeatedly questioning and confirming that Kohberger's plea was voluntary, that he understood the consequences. The 30-year-old waived his right to appeal the sentence.
Mr. Kohberger entered the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. He did that with the intent to kill. Upon his return to Idaho, a DNA sample was taken from him, and it matched the DNA found on the knife sheath next to Maddie's body at the crime scene.
A turning point in the case. There will be no jury trial. Mixed reaction from the victims' families. Kaylee Gonsalves' father insisting this isn't justice.
We didn't agree on anything. He only negotiated with the murder of our children.
We support the plea agreement 100%. While we know there are some who do not support it, we ask that they respect our belief that this is the best outcome possible for the victims, their families, and the state of Idaho.
The Kernodle family also reportedly disappointed with the deal. I reached out to Ethan Chapin's family in Skagit County, no word today, but on Tuesday, they said they support the agreement. Kohberger will be sentenced on July 23rd. Back in that Idaho courtroom, the judge said it could go a second day because the families will have an opportunity to tell the judge how this has impacted them. That's the very latest, Preston.
Yeah, Michelle, the big question dates back to November of 2022, and why? Any insight on motive?
Yeah, that really is the question, right? I mean, that's what everybody wants to know, particularly this family. But we got nothing on that today about motive. We may learn more, though, coming up on the sentencing, because at that time, Kohberger would have the opportunity to address the court. So we'll see if he does. Preston?
Interesting. Thanks, Michelle.
You got it.
Court filings reveal some of the evidence prosecutors plan to introduce if the trial of Bryan Kohberger had gone on as scheduled. And that includes details on Kohberger's click history on Amazon, where he purchased a large K-bar military-style knife, sheath, and sharpener in the months before the murders. A K-bar sheath was found next to one of the victims. Prosecutors also plan to introduce a selfie Kohberger took on his cell phone hours after the killings, which shows him smiling and giving a thumbs up.
During today's court hearing, Judge Stephen Hippler said he was just as blindsided as everyone else by the plea deal.
I, like most everyone else, learned of this plea agreement Monday afternoon and had no inkling of it beforehand.
Judge Hippler went on to say he felt it was important to accept the deal as soon as possible, citing the intense preparation already underway for jury selection and Kohberger's trial. Here's a timeline of how this case has progressed. The victims were found murdered in their off-campus home on November 13th, 2022. More than a month later, December 30th, police arrested Bryan Kohberger at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. He would be extradited to Idaho just days later. On May 17th, 2023, a grand jury indicted Kohberger on 4 counts of murder and 1 count of burglary. He pleaded not guilty less than a week later. Fast forward to just Thursday, when a judge set a trial date for this August. And then on Monday, news broke about Kohberger's plea deal with prosecutors. And finally today, he pleaded guilty to all charges against him. Sentencing is set for July 23rd.
And that brings us to our KOMO Pulse poll. Tonight we're asking, do you agree with the plea deal for Bryan Kohberger? My results show 66% say no. 34% say yes. You still have time to vote. We will update these results tonight on KOMO News at 11. And stick with KOMO News for continuing coverage of the Bryan Kohberger plea deal, including a sentencing later this month. We'll have the newest developments right here on TV and online at KOMOnews.com. And don't forget to check out the National News Desk documentary, Idaho Student Murders: Search for Justice, which delves into the case against Bryan Kohberger as well as the backgrounds of his victims. To stream it for free, just scan the QR code right there on your screen. That'll take you directly to the documentary on YouTube.